Okay. So hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Inside Voices. I'm really happy to have Amber and Allie here with us today. So Amber and Allie are two other founders of businesses here in the Reno area. So it's kind of weird because I feel like I'm probably only 2 miles away from Allie, but we're on a Zoom call and not near each other. So Allie actually started Strange Bikinis, which is, she started off by hand making bikinis, and now she's been growing her line. And Amber, legitimately in her spare time, runs Grow Wild & Co., which is sort of a collective of local crafters, artisans, designers, creatives, and she sort of curates that collection and sells them online. And they're both going to talk a little bit more about what they do in just a second. But what we're going to talk about today is how to grow your Instagram. So, Susie, can I ask you, I just have a technical question. Do I have to keep allowing individual people in and then muting everyone and then unmuting everyone? Because that's what's happening right now, and this has never happened. And so
I think it's because their audio is setting in, so it looks like they're not muted. But I'll track it.
Okay, thanks.
I'll do both. I'll let them in and I'll mute them.
Thank you. Okay, great. So we're going to talk about growing Instagram today, and I don't know if any of you had a chance to look at either one of their Instagrams, but just so that I don't get it wrong, Strange Bikinis has 54.9 thousand followers. No big deal. Allie, good job on that. And Grow Wild & Co. has 28.4 thousand. So both numbers probably most of us are all aspiring to get to. So we're going to talk about how to do that today. But before we get in to the questions, I just want, Amber, why don't you start? Just give everybody a little bit more information about you, and then we'll bump over to Allie.
Sure. So Grow Wild & Co. is strictly an e-commerce, and we retail local goods. Our new slogan is support your local girl gang. We like to find small makers that maybe need help with a website or online presence in general, and we bring that onto our website, and our biggest platform is driving sales through like Facebook ad type things. One thing that we stand for is giving back to the environment. So this year, right now, our 15% per purchase is going to Keep Tahoe Blue. And we hope to keep kind of expanding that and finding different nonprofits that we can work with to influence some projects in the area. And we're looking forward to our big annual beach cleanup, hoping we can all get on a beach in August. So we like to, we're behind the screen a lot of the time, but we like to kind of get out there too in the community.
Thanks, Amber. Do you want to just say a second what your day job is, or are we not going to talk about that?
Oh, no, we can talk about it. My day job is a chemical engineer for Tesla. So the beauty of the e-commerce is I can do my website updates, 11 p.m. time frame, and then maybe a little 5 a.m. wake up. I'll do some new product integration onto the site. But I strictly work off of this little laptop here. I'm like basically sitting in front of a closet now because I get in a zone working and find myself in odd places in my house.
Well, and if we get to it today, so one thing that we didn't really, we may or may not discuss today, but Amber is kind of a crazy genius on Facebook ads and to like do really well with them. So we'll see if we get into that today, but because that's kind of a different topic, but also a really, really important one. And kind of genius. I mean, I think that's that engineer at Tesla that feeds into your ability to do that. It's pretty phenomenal. Allie, you want to tell us a little bit more about you?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm Allie, and I started Strange Bikinis in 2012 out of my house, actually my in-laws' house. And yeah, like Jen said, I started making them myself, and it definitely helped me that was one reason I was able to keep the business going, or start the business rather, because I had such success with it and kind of hit the ground running in Reno. And let's see, in 2016, I saved up all the money, bootstrapped it, and decided to stop hand making the swimsuits completely by myself, and went to manufacture. And they're all made in San Francisco and cut in Oakland, so relatively local in my opinion. And I do a lot of community projects as well. I do a couple big fundraisers, and this year we're using biodegradable fabrics, so that's something I'm really proud of. I made the switch to that, and it was a costly one, but something that I think is important. So yeah, and I have a store in Reno, and I also just opened a brand new retail location in Santa Cruz, California.
Which I think you were open for like a week, right?
1 week, yeah.
Yeah, that probably felt really good. That's
I guess it's not, nobody got sick while we were all there.
Yeah, it's true. All right, great. Well, I'm going to jump into the first question, and then just as a reminder for everybody who's on the call, you can put a question in the chat box anytime, and I will make sure to run through those and get your questions answered. So just know you can do that. So I'm hoping that Amber and Allie, what you can do is kind of like actually take us back to the very beginning when you were like, I'm going to create this Instagram account, or like, I only have 300 followers, or I only have 1,000, like back to like the start. And I'd like to kind of figure out like, what were you thinking and what were you feeling and what kind of first went into you starting to go on the journey of where you are today. So let's start beginning and then we'll kind of move through.
Okay.
You want me to go first, Amber?
Yeah, you go.
Okay. So I started Strange Bikinis in 2012, and I think Instagram was kind of just starting to happen. Instagram, I think maybe was around in 2008, 2009, because I had one. And so I don't know how to fix that. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, what is that?
It's a text message on my computer. I don't know. Not tech savvy. So when I started the business, I just used my personal Instagram, and my company name was actually Allie's Strange Bikinis. And so for the first couple of years, like it was hand in hand. People just thought of me, and then they thought of the business. But when I decided to actually take it and do something with it and run with it, I dropped my name from it and decided to focus on just being a brand. And I changed it from a person, like I created a new page for my personal one, and retained all the followers that I had gained through the couple years that I had just been kind of fiddling around with it. And let's see. I think at the beginning we were all just like, nobody really knew what they were doing on Instagram. That was the beauty of it. It was not curated. It wasn't, you didn't have to think about it. I was so freaking hyped every time I finished a swimsuit to lay that sucker on the ground and take a picture. It was like, it fueled me. And the instant feedback from the customers, and then almost instant sales. Like I would get somebody who was brave and wanted to create something. And so that was exciting for me, because then I would be excited to share that with the world. And I'd get more sales for that one that somebody else had kind of put together. So it was like a perfect combination for getting my business going.
And you're still doing flat lays. Like you're still making something, you're in your store where you are now, and you're just snapping it with your phone and you're posting it, and you're getting tons of tons of engagement and sales from it. And I just want to say, like, you know, for you to say, like, back in the day, everything, it was, you know, not overly produced, and we're back to that now, right? So like, that's one of the things that we've been talking about on Inside Voices for all these weeks, is that through COVID, we're moving into like a more real, authentic, natural experience with our consumers or with our community, because we've legitimately invited them into our home, right? So like, that's something to keep thinking about with your Instagram, is that like you can actually just like dial it down. But Amber, you want to talk about you?
Yeah. So mine was, I guess, 2 years ago in 2018. And I distinctly remember making that first post and then Googling like, what are the top hashtags today? And the hashtags had nothing to do with the picture that I posted, but I was like, is this what I should be doing here? So I was always Googling like, what are today's top hashtags, and doing that. This was before advertising, which has really automated a ton of my growth strategy for followers. And this was just me sitting there. I would even take pictures off of Pinterest and tag them just to kind of see if I could get something that started to trend or made somebody want to share. And then the next like big strategy thing I did, which I guess I still kind of do, I found brands bigger than me, or photographers that had existed longer than me with current followings, and would kind of do exchanges for free product, or can we get into a photo shoot you have set up? So I was always just trying to sneak into other things that were existing just so I could get tags and get my name out there. And I was trying to do giveaways, but that didn't take off right away because I was a small account. So nobody wanted to do a giveaway with us, I suppose. But if I was giving product away and offering someone else value, I could in turn be included in some photo shoot. And that's kind of what I relied on at first.
Well, let's talk more about these growth strategies. So Amber, you just said that you would message other people and say, hey, I have this product. Can I send it to you? Can you include it in your photograph? Can you tag me? So that's a strategy. What are some other key things that you've done to go in 2 years? You've gone from 0 to 28,000 in 2 years. So let's save any paid media stuff for later, but what have been some of the organic things that you've done in the past 2 years?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I now have a social media strategist that does a lot of this for me, but I would spend a lot of time, again, back to the hashtags, like finding a hashtag that was relevant, which for me was Lake Tahoe. I was a Lake Tahoe collective of goods. And I would go in that hashtag, like sort it by recent and go through and manually like people's pictures. And then they would say, hey, who liked this? This is before bots and things that are now obviously banned. But I kind of had to chase around or comment on a picture, give some sort of value. So it was all extremely manual, but that worked. I mean, I saw a return of my time, so I would do that often. Looking back, yeah, there's different ways to automate around that. But that was one.
So when you say often, how much time per day would you spend on fucking off on Instagram, essentially liking people's photos and commenting? How much time a day?
At least 2 hours.
And Allie, you're spending 4 hours?
In the beginning, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe more.
This is why you both have more followers than we do at I've never spent that much. Good for you. This is like, wow. Okay. So 2 to 4 hours.
Oh, here's a trick. I don't like phone screen time, so I log in to my Instagram on my desktop, and I do that's how I did the hashtag like strategy. You can do it a lot faster. I don't do that anymore, but that if people don't like looking at their phone, the desktop application has gone a long way. You can now do your messages that way as well.
And Allie, before we jump to you, Sam just has a follow-up question for you, Amber. So were you using top Google hashtags even if they were not relevant at all to your post at all?
Yep.
Would you recommend doing that now?
No.
Thank you. Okay, good.
Quality followers or purchasers.
Okay, great. Just needed the clarification on that. And Allie, what about you? What have been some key organic, non-paid growth strategies beyond 4 hours a day?
Yeah. Honestly, you guys, I feel like I've done everything. Like if you ask me, oh, have you thought about this? I feel like I was doing that in 2013 or 2014. Like I've tried everything, and then I kind of get lazy on things, or I kind of give up hope on certain things, and then you try the next thing. So it's definitely always a roller coaster ride with social media. But I would say I'll just say it. I feel like I kind of pioneered the way with ambassadorships. I targeted the girls that worked at this really cute coffee shop here. They were known for having the cutest girls. I went there and I gave them all my swimsuits and I said, just take pictures of yourself and make sure everybody knows this is Strange Bikinis. And that was huge right away. Like that gave me some following, gave me some customers, but also kind of helped me develop that idea of like, okay, I see how this works. This is easy for me because I'm making this product. So it's not going to be as big of a cost to go out and pay a model. Or whatever, a photographer even. And again, we're going back to when the feed wasn't curated as much. So it was a lot easier. But in some terms, almost everybody is really good at curating their feed nowadays. So it's kind of leveled out. But ambassador programs, trades, products, giveaways, you pretty much have to do them. I hate it. I go back and forth. Sometimes I'm just like, absolutely not. I'm not doing any more giveaways. And then the right person will ask me and I'll be like, let's do it. So it's totally a give and take, and depending where you're feeling at with your business. But I try to reach new customers by doing giveaways with brands that I've never even really heard of, but have a good synergy with mine. But it's just hard nowadays. They don't want to do it. And honestly, this is my opinion, but my account's driving me crazy. I feel like I have such a tiny account. So like I want 100,000 followers like now. I'm trying to figure out how to get there because it's just been really hard the last, I want to say 2 years, actually. It's been hard to grow.
Yeah, well, I mean, giveaways are definitely, so for anybody who has, I think you can do this if you have a product, but I think you could also try to if you offer a service, I think that could also get pushed in. And Allie, what you just said, looking for the synergy. So it doesn't necessarily have to be brand based, but looking for other people where you could easily fit in. I know for us at Coalition, in the last year, we've grown by 10,000 followers, almost all from 3 giveaways. So that's a really big thing. But it's also difficult because if you don't have that many followers at all, nobody wants to partner with you on a giveaway because you're not going to drive more followers. So I want to, Allie, ask you said that you've done all the things. So beyond ambassadors, giveaways, like what are some of those things that you were doing in the beginning before you were paying, before you were doing the giveaways? Like if we have people on this call who are really at the start of things.
Like Amber said, like a lot of legwork with just liking, like your key demographic of whoever you want to follow you go out there and you find them and you just engage with them. I still do that to this day. If I'm going to be doing a pop-up shop somewhere, I search Scottsdale, Arizona, and then I start liking girls' photos and commenting on their photos because I'm going to start populating in that zone. So just a lot of legwork. And unfortunately, you just have to put in the time, I think, when it's the beginning. You have to get out there. You have to be brave. You have to honestly, you're going to feel like you're at the bottom, but that's because you kind of are. So you have to take the risk and you have to say like, hey, I'm willing to do X, Y, and Z. Would you please consider me for and just don't give up. That's another thing. Squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? Like ask 4 times a year if that's who you really want to do something with, like a partnership with. What's the worst that could happen? They could say no. So, okay. So doing that, the legwork, I don't know. I feel like I've done it. I've paid people for posts. I've paid for stupid giveaways just because I thought maybe it would work with huge high level influencers, like millions of followers. They don't work.
So let's not move through this too quickly, right? Because like once again, there's a lot of people here who like are not as fluent in all of this as you. So because those are both really smart things. So let's talk about the first one that you just said, which was you said not to. Sorry, there's all these background noises. You said not to pay to be a part of a big giveaway. Do you want to talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. And I'm reading the captions now and they're giving me some reminders of some other things. But so like I get to the point where I'm desperate and I want to try new things because more followers means more money, most likely. So this past winter, I paid $1,500 to be a part of a giveaway that it was like a loop type like it was basically a company and then a high level influencer. And all you had to do was go to that company's page and follow everybody they're following, which was my company because I paid to be a part of it. And because she had 1.5 million followers, I would have assumed we would have got like 5% or 2%, not even close. Like I maybe got like 100 followers from that. So
And
that
I think
cost
that
$1,500.
that probably speaks a lot to like how there's, and let's talk about this in a minute. And I'm going to make a note, the idea of a micro influencer. We know that influencers who have like over 1 million followers, like oftentimes the engagement is so poor, and that's like possibly why that didn't work out. So when you're looking for people who you want to pay to post, either repost or give product to, what are you looking for, Allie? And how much are you paying, if you're comfortable with saying that?
Yeah, I mean, when I want to give out swimsuits, I'm typically the one going out and finding the person I want to wear it. Except for this giveaway was something kind of more strategic, like a PR company of a marketing company doing the outreach. So that's why I felt comfortable with it, because it seemed very official, in my opinion. So I was like, let's just try it. And at this point in my business, yeah, it sucked to lose that money, but it's also good to know that like, okay, those don't work. Don't do those anymore. And then micro influencers for sure. Like, I feel like that was about 2 years ago, two years ago, when everybody's like micro influencers. So finding people that have between 1 and 10,000 maybe, but maybe it's higher now. I have a lot of them. I have a lot of people that I give free swimsuits to that help grow the brand. But at some point, at least this is where I'm at right now, I'm just kind of tired of giving out free products just for Instagram.
So you would give a free product
Mm-hmm.
to somebody who had between 1,000 and 10,000 followers, and then what would you expect from them? Would you have a contract? Would it be written really clearly? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, we had a contract. I'm very like casual type person, so nothing was like really binding, but expectations, try to make them as clear as possible, especially working with influencers nowadays. If you don't tell them exactly what you want, like they're not going to read your minds, even though you might think they're looking at your page or they came to your page and applied. They're not going to be able to read your minds. They're not going to be able to give you that shot, even though they think you think they're going to. So be very specific with what you want, and don't be unrealistic. Like, it is a lot of work for them too. So just having good, easy terms, I feel. And then I think the biggest thing with my micro influencers or my ambassadors is the community aspect. I have every single one of their phone numbers. It's not an email relationship. It's more of a friend relationship, because they're invested in my brand. And I love that aspect of it. I think that's so much cooler. And they help spread the word so much better because they're connected in a real authentic way.
Yeah. And
that's not about Instagram now at that point, it's crazy.
Yeah, we have a pretty big ambassador program at Coalition as well. We have a few ambassadors on this call right now. Hello, I see you. And I would like, for us, it's the same thing. The community. It's not about Instagram. It's about the community. But then what happens is that they do post and tag and mention you in stories, and that helps a lot. I'm going to make my way through some of these questions in the chat. So this is a quick one for you, Allie. Do you know the percentage of your audience that are men who are looking at women in bikinis?
8 on my account.
8%? 8%. Yeah. Chelsea just had a really good point. The algorithm these days is making things a lot harder. And I think we'll talk a little bit about paid strategy, because that really is something that's important now because of the algorithm. So Natasha has let me just ask Sam's question, and then I'm going to go. So have either one of you paid people to post about your product? And if you have, how much have you paid them?
Yes.
Go. How
Um,
much?
I've seen it at least 20 times in contracts you receive, but 500 per post plus free
Oh.
product.
I paid Ivy. She's one of my models and she has a huge following. She made me a video. It was hilarious. Probably one of my most engaged things and hers. And I paid her $2,800.
That's a lot. Yeah, my 500 was for a story post only, and I did recover those sales within 2 hours of her posting it. So yeah, I was like, Saturdays are low sale days for me in the morning because people sleep in later. And I woke up and I was like, what is going on? Did an ad do well? And then I saw, and she finally tagged me, and I'm like, okay, measure this out. But you have to track it closely. When I both pay and send free product, the gal that manages my social media will only do it if they have DM contracts with us, not email, because they are slower to respond on email. We need rapid response. She says she watches tracking daily and wants them to know you're getting your product this day, because they'll say, oh, didn't receive it yet, lost it. Oh, I still didn't do my unboxing. So we beat them. We're like, hey, you're getting this tomorrow at noon. Hey, what's your plan? We bug them because it's a lot of money and we're the ones taking that risk. So we're risk adverse, and that's how we manage it. We micro manage that like you can't believe.
Yeah, and I've paid $750 before for one post and one story, and provided product, and our product is obviously like $700. And so that's what, like, when I've paid, that's something that we've done.
But did they give you a whole bunch of photos too? Like, did they give you more than just one content? Because like with my price that I just said, I got like a library full of photos to post on my.
This is just specifically paid promote.
So that's
like,
probably why
posts.
the difference in price is so drastic. Just to make it clear for everybody.
Yeah. So Natasha has a question. Let's talk about the actual content. So what content, both with the photos and the captions, do you see? And I think there's sort of like two sides of it. One is like what's high engagement, and then the other one is what's high ROI. Those are two different things, right? So let's just start with the first one. What types of posts and captions for both of you have driven high engagement?
Flat.
Yeah. Anytime for me, anytime I am giving value, I'm not just saying, hey, this product is on sale 15% off. We've been doing like facts about Lake Tahoe, and those get shared thousands of times. So I use those posts to bring people back to my page and make them do the work for me. It's free for somebody to be like so inspired by some value education that I'm giving in 1 or 2 sentences. And that's words on the picture, not in the post. If they see the words in the picture and it speaks to them, they share it to their story. You don't want to just do a random one off of Pinterest like I used to, because you want them to come back to your branded page. So there's that. And then high ROI is when, again, it's always about how can I make the customers work for me, share it to their story and motivate them. I ask a question like tag a woman who needs empowered today, like prompt them to tag friends in a way that is empowering, and a check-in reminder or something. And then that's how I do the same thing on my ads now too, where I just rely on them to tag each other. So that's 2 strategies that are free.
And Allie, what about you? Let's start with engagement first. What works best for you?
Product shots, not on the body. Like, people love my page because of the body diversity and stuff, but bottom line, they like to imagine themselves in the swimsuit, I think, rather than seeing it on somebody else. So definitely product shots and just flat lays get me the most engagement. And then I would say the same is true for the ROI.
And I think a lot of this, oh, go ahead.
Timing of posts, paydays, Fridays, stuff like that, knowing when the stimulus check's coming out, like timing it with when people are going to have money to spend. Mm-hmm. That's always good for me.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I'm just going to go to Ev. Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was just going to say about content creation though. I still do all my own flat lays on my own phone, guys. And a lot of the best photos are in my feed are, I think for Amber's too, are customer photos. That's one thing that makes my swimsuit company for sure stand out against other swimsuit companies. I don't just rely on professional. I actually prefer customer photos. I think it's just so much more authentic. And plus that hypes people up when you're sharing them and they think that, you know, I mean, they are special, but you know what I mean? Getting them up on your page.
Yeah. And that takes time to grow. Like I remember when we started Coalition, we didn't have a lot of user generated content because nobody had our skis. Right. But then now we're at the place where like we're getting tagged so many times in a day that I can't keep up with it. And you are looking for the right aesthetic. But what I was going to say is that one thing that we've talked about here on Inside Voices is how important it is to know your community and your demographic. So what works for Amber, for Allie, for myself might be different. And you really have to do your own market research and understand like your community, you know, how are they and how are they engaging? What brands or nonprofits or freelancers are like you, and you do your homework there. So I just think it's really important to think about how you need to be yourself and you need to show up in that way. And that's what's going to really engage people versus like trying to do what everyone else does. We have a question here from Evan. So at the very beginning, do you recommend following lots of accounts?
I've tried that. I've definitely tried that. So that's another example. Like maybe I was following like 18,000 people at one point and just slowly had to work on unfollowing it because it's just, in a way it does work, but they're not super invested in you because they didn't like land upon you, like Amber said, with something that they were interested in. They're just like, I mean, I'm even guilty of that. Sometimes I follow people right away because they just look appealing to me right away and they follow me. So it's like a quick little thing. But at bottom line, I would say that's not a great strategy.
I would agree. It's like, I think from a brand perspective, or even just in like any professional thing that you're doing, you don't want to have a million followers because there needs to be some sort of like exclusivity a little bit about who you're following. And so I've definitely gone through and like frequently tried to cull. And also, yeah, like if people didn't show up because they like what you're creating, you might get that follow and it makes you look better. Like but you're not going to actually get anything out of it besides that increase in the following. And I think that that's a really important to think about, is that when you're thinking about all these strategies, you got to know what it is you're trying to get. Are you just trying to get your number up to get past 10,000 so you can swipe up? Okay, fine. You can do these things, but don't think you're going to get sales from it. You do this to get sales, right? So you have to think about what your goals are and then how the strategy specifically fits into that. I'm going to keep working through the questions in the chat. So Stefani wanted to know, what did we do in our giveaway to get so many followers? We were part of many, many brands with really big followers, and to enter into the giveaway. And these giveaways were like this, grand prize, a pair of skis, $2,000, like big giveaways. So people were highly motivated to participate. And collectively, I think we probably had we had like hundreds of thousands of users who were being moved through it. So that definitely got our followers up. But like I just said, I knew going into that those weren't going to necessarily be customers. It just bumped the number up. When I think about actually getting a customer, I'm happy that they're on my Instagram page. Now I'm going to do some really fun shit on it so that then they might want to actually go look at my website, and then boom, I'm going to retarget them there and try to get them on my newsletter and like move them through the funnel. So Chelsea thinks $1,500 is crazy. Yes, Chelsea, $1,500 is a lot of money, but I do want to say what Allie paid. Allie got assets. She got a whole portfolio of photos. That's different. I would say, like, in terms of like you were paying for content, Allie, and that is reasonable and awesome. If you're just going to like pay for a post, I wouldn't pay more than $1,000. So, okay, Emily has a question. How do you handle your micro influencers versus brand ambassadors? Or do you consider them the same thing?
Oh, I'll just go quickly on this. Mine changes from year to year because I'm still figuring it out. Like sometimes, like in the beginning, it was all ambassadors and it was really loosey goosey and pretty, actually, the way I prefer it. They just did what they're supposed to. Now it's like, okay, you have to have a contract and you have to follow them. You have to track their package because guess what? They're not going to post. They're just going to take the swimsuit to Tahiti and have a great time. But I also, the influencer thing, if they're micro influencers, I almost feel like they're the same exact thing as an ambassador. Influencer to me is like somebody who wants to get paid, like Amber said, around $500 or at least the gifted product, and maybe you have it a small agreement of some type. You're just not going to find them anymore, really. It's really rare if you find somebody who has a good following that wants to do a post just for trade. So I'm getting all jumbled up, but like it seriously goes like this. Like every other month, I'm like, they're influencers, they're the ambassadors. Even on my website, I use both words like intermittently.
And I think that's a really important point though, Allie. I think what everyone here needs to know is that like social media is actually changing all the time. Instagram changes, the algorithm changes, the functionality changes, the way people engage with it. You can't, like, you have to be pretty nimble. Don't think you're going to set something like, you know, in June and be like, I'm going to do this for the next year. No, you're going to like try it for like 3 weeks and then see what else you need to do. And you're constantly going to be trying to do it better and integrating new things and reading and learning. Like it really does require a lot to stay up on. It's not a static thing at all. Do you want to answer that question quickly, Amber? We have like 20 questions, so I'm going to keep going through them.
I actually have 4 distinct programs for that. I have my best performing one for sales is the one that's open to every single person, and it's called your referral code. Every time you buy a product from my site, it sends you a referral code. So that's not saying you have to be in any program. It's called Conjured Referrals app, and it gives them, if they get somebody to make a purchase, they get $20. And like people who have like 100 Instagram followers, but like 100 family members on Facebook just do really well. They do better than my paid affiliate program, which is another tier. And those are hand-selected people that make 12% back. So that's a whole program there. And again, it's Instagram. They reach out, they apply for it. But the referral thing is every single customer gets that email after they make a purchase and they just run with it. And yeah, people of all ages, all sizes, it doesn't matter. I don't control it at all. I just watch it. Affiliates is annoying because I have to have an app to make payments to them and track that properly. Ambassadors get 25% off. They also apply for that. It's not as challenging to get in as the affiliate program. Then you have the influencers, which is us hand selecting people, sending them free product. None of those other categories are getting free product.
Right.
This is the one that I choose and the one that you micromanage. And I wish I had done it earlier because I need those customer pictures and I need them for ad content and ad copy. So I think I jumped ahead to a question, but one thing I wish I did earlier is give the free product, Amber. Don't just give them a quarter of the price off. Like, go for it. Yep. Pictures are expensive to get professionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have 4 programs too, just like you. So hopefully people in the audience aren't like, holy fuck, what am I like really 4 things? But yeah, you really like, you want to make some money. You kind of do, you have to do all the things, but yeah, just got to do it all. Okay. And then the final question from Emily, and I am going to keep working through this. Do you use any specific tools for tracking other than Google Analytics, Instagram Analytics? Are there other things that you're using?
Oh, well, I have a marketing team and they track everything for me. So I
With
have
what?
They have a whole dashboard and they break it all down for me through each platform. So yes, but don't ask me what any of that is.
So you don't, okay. So you can't recommend a specific platform or anything. Okay. What about you, Amber?
Google Analytics is good, but it's not intuitive. AdWords by Google, second best, so you can see what people are searching. Your website platform probably has the analytics that mean the most to you. mine's Shopify.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's 3 platforms, I guess, but I don't want anyone to open Google Analytics and feel like, where do I begin? Because it's not intuitive. And I've taken all the Google classes to get certified and I still struggle. So I do ads as well, like continuously. And it's not as easy as Facebook ads.
I find that, so I definitely use the Instagram app to track and to look at a lot of stuff. I'm going into insights. I'm looking to see how many people saved, because saving is a big thing. Saving helps you stay on the sort of at the top of feed. So like, I want to see how many shares, how many saves, are almost more important to me than the likes. And so when I see something that has a lot of shares or saves, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to make more of those. The thing that I find challenging is that I do all of our scheduling for Instagram on Later, and a lot of those those analytics might be different than what Instagram is telling me. So you just kind of have to like know that it's not perfect. Even like the time of day you're supposed to post. Later tells me one thing, Instagram tells me another thing. So I just like kind of split the difference sometimes, and we'll like mix it up.
Tailwind app does it for you. It actually picks when, based on the day and your location, when it should post.
So Katie's specific question, and Emily, I'll get back to your other one, but Katie specifically wanted to know what kind of apps you use to track and manage. So you use Tailwind. Allie, do you use any apps to track and manage?
I still post every morning. I do all the posts like live. I don't plan it out. I wing it.
Well, it's working for you, so it works. So Emily has a question. Do you have strategies for getting customers to create user-generated content? She says, I've struggled with getting my customers to post things.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I started last year was sending in the packages, specific things that we're looking for. Again, like this year, what I started with was, because I said flat lays were really good engagement posts for us, and I wanted fresh content, I encouraged my customers to submit their flat lay photos. So on my card that I sent in their package, it showed them exactly step by step how to take the best flat lay. Because not everybody understands what a flat lay even is. So, and the swimsuits are hard. Like, it's not just a t-shirt. So showing them how to do that and giving them a couple different varieties, that was really fun. And we got some really good submissions. And I thought that was also just kind of a good way to get people involved.
It's a great idea to like actually send them. And both of you have mentioned that you are pretty heavy-handed with telling people, like your ambassadors, your influencers, we want you to post this. Amber, do you have things that you?
Yeah. Once you're in the ambassador affiliate program, you tend to get message updates from me all the time. So it reminds you, hey, I'm in this, I'm supposed to do a thing. But we've done 2 different challenges using our email platform, and just saying like, win a $50 gift card for this wasn't one, but like funniest photo in your t-shirt, but it's usually like some theme that could apply to a lot of people. But I've had more luck getting customer reviews via an email request after someone purchases than I've had like asking for for them to like send a picture, which they would really just be like replying to my email. Maybe they feel more comfortable with this like official Yachtpo review platform. I can't figure it out, but more people respond to that. I don't know if it's a comfort thing.
Big ask. It's a big ask to ask somebody to put the product on and like take a picture of themselves. So like for you even, and then especially for swimwear, I recognize that right away. Like, especially when you're trying to show body diversity, you know, not all the girls are like, I feel like the girls that are size 2 are much more comfortable taking their photo and submitting it than the girls that maybe aren't ready for that. So that's why implementing the ideas of like how to get content generated by them, which is so much better for you because you don't have to pay for it. Just trying to think of new and different ways.
Or I feel like I do have to ask, like somebody will tag me in something that's going to disappear in 24 hours. I'm like, hey, can you save that and send it to me? And they're like, oh yeah, like never thought to do that or something, because they don't manage a brand and understand how like the pictures are everything, the photo quality, the diversity, like that's what we live off of.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a brick and mortar, so that's what I live off of, I guess. But yeah, I usually will have to ask. I'll get a tag. I've seen people tag their own company, and I've been like, hey, like, can you fix that? That was me. Can you also save that and send it to me? So I kind of have to ask.
Yeah, I've definitely had to do that too. Like I manage our Instagram, so I'm on Instagram every single day, just keeping up on it. I schedule in advance because sanity. I am on it all like every day. I think the other thing too, like I've found like as our brand has grown, people are actually using the hashtag Coalition Snow. And that's something where like if you can start the hashtag, and it doesn't necessarily have to be this fancy marketing thing, it can be a campaign, but also like I find things because of that hashtag. So that's, that's definitely something to think of. We've had a few questions now about what does it look like when you don't want to do it yourself anymore and you want to go pay someone? Allie, this question's probably directed to you. So like, how do you decide to like pick that team, and how much do you think, like how much should people expect to spend if they want someone else to be taking all of this on?
Oh, that's probably the reason I don't have somebody doing it, because I don't want to spend it. And
Mhm.
I've tried to let it go, you guys, but it's very hard because I guess I'm the tastemaker of it. Like I don't feel like everybody quite understands, even though it seems so simple. They just can't quite portray it. They don't quite get the voice right. But I've tried probably 3 or 4 times to hand it off before. Last year I paid one girl, just a micro influencer of mine. I paid her $1,000 a month just to run my stories. So I don't know if that's just stories. I hate doing stories. I'll do the feed all day long.
Was that good? Like when you hired her to do stories, were you happy with it?
Yeah, I was happy with it. I liked the content she was putting out, but at the end of the day, when you're like the person, probably the owner of the business, like we all are, like it was still so much legwork for me to get her the stuff, to get her like whatever the giveaway was going down. Like I wish it was a cleaner break. Like, here you go, bye. I think I would be happier just doing that. But until you're maybe have a little bit more time or money to do the handoff or
Yeah.
hiring on.
Yeah.
It's just really hard. Like when you think about all the aspects that go on that need it's just really hard.
I agree. So I've tried to hand off the Coalition Snow Instagram account to like professionals multiple times, and I've paid anywhere from like $400 to $800 a month for them to do to just do the feed. I find is like $400 a month, and then stories are just more time intensive, so that bumps it up. But I have always just come back to like, nope, I'm going to do it. And I want to say though, I think that's because with all of us, like we have brands that have so much personality and are so much about community that like hiring an agency, oftentimes they're way too corporate, they're flat, they're basic B, like it's so basic. I'm like, this is fucking boring. Really? Like this, but more corporate, very large brands or accounts, they actually want that. They want the basic B.
Yeah.
For us, it's the opposite. And so I mean, even I've tried to like, and outside of like agencies, I've tried to hire people, and we did have someone on our team who was really good at like posting ski stuff, but then there's like all these other things to do. So yeah, like I think that if you're a smaller brand and you're a brand, like you are going to be managing a lot of this on your own, because the voice and the content is so important.
Yeah.
I
Outsourced. So Upwork is a great platform to find people. You post a job description, you get to interview them. And I clearly remember thinking, when I save up X dollars, I'm going to hire somebody. I had to wipe that from my head and say, we don't have this savings. Like, you're not going to say, oh, I'm paying myself so well that I'm ready to pay this other person. No, what I had to do was, again, I micromanage every dollar I spend, but I pay them $50 a day on Upwork to do my social 3 days a week. And now I'm bumping it up to 5 days a week for 2 accounts, stories and feeds. $50 a day. And to me, they have to make up that $50 by getting 2 more sales than I would have because I'm working for Tesla full time. Like while I'm sitting here working, if they can upload and tag 4 products, get 2 sales, boom, they paid for themselves that day. So every day I see if my employees pay for themselves. It's awful, but that's how I determine if someone stays. I didn't have this extra money to be like, here's $500 week 1. No, it was like day 1, $50. What the F are you going to do to make sure that you cover your paycheck that day? They don't know that I'm putting this pressure on them, but I kind of allude to it. Like, what things did you do to make a return like today? Like what kind of content? So they have to drive sales.
I also really enjoy doing Instagram, but it's like pretty much right now where we are at in summer is when I start to hate it. So it's pretty routine for me at this point in my business that I love it during the winter. I kind of love it while the new collection's coming out. And then all of a sudden it's like all the DMs. And I mean, sometimes you could spend at least an hour just doing DMs.
No, I wait the days that I'm managing it, the one in between. By the way, having them take the pressure off of I have to do it every day to, oh, today's my fun day, I get to do it. It feels more fun and like a creative outlet. But when I had to do it every day, I would like hide and not do it. Like you can look back at my feed and you'd see like a 4-day break. And I don't know why it got to me. Like it takes 5 minutes to make the thing and I couldn't do it. But I let the DMs pile up to over 20 and she gets really mad at me because no, I just
let's talk about
what I think her to do.
Let's talk about ads. So before we get, I just want to highlight Kirsten's comment, doing social media for a ski area with 80,000 plus followers. And what worked well for them as a multi-person team was nailing key parts of the voice, like picking a local ski celebrity and trying to make sure each post would make sense coming out of their mouth. So I think that's a really good tip. Because we only have 5 minutes left, I want to bump up to Stefani's question, specifically talking about experience with Instagram ads, with what has worked and what hasn't. I'm going to have you, Amber, answer this one first. And I want you to be like really granular and speak it slow because you're kind of the wizard and it runs like this in your head. But like, let's talk about ads for a little bit.
Okay. Rule number 1, do Facebook ads, not Instagram ads. So don't go on your Instagram app. Instead, log into your Facebook desktop, business manager, ads manager, get a business page set up. Facebook for me is more important than my Instagram. I have more Facebook followers than I do on Instagram. So do not run Instagram ads. Go to Facebook, go to that platform. Yes, they will go on Instagram, your ads will, and in stories, but just make sure you're logging in the right way. You're getting into that screen, connect to your business page, to your Instagram page. And then you have like all of these options. You pull it up and it says, what type of ad like do you want to do? One thing to Google is just literally type into Google, I have like a Weebly website. I have a Shopify website. I have GoDaddy, whatever. How do I connect my pixel to my Facebook page? Do that. It's different for every platform. I Googled it to learn how to do it. I can't explain it to anybody. Connect that. So you open up that Facebook page and it says, what do you want to do today? Do you want to drive traffic to your page? Do you want to drive messages? Or do you want to drive conversions or catalog sales? If you are not a brick and mortar and you don't want to drive foot traffic, please select conversions. That's the one way to, again, micromanage and track every dollar you're spending. What is your ROAS, your return on ad spend? So I don't know. Do you want me to go through once you open the conversion? Like I can do it out of my head, what your selection.
I think we're going to have you back for a different call and we're just going to only talk about Facebook ads and do that at a whole different session because it's really important and it's just different. Like it is like Facebook ads are something that actually, like you said, should happen on the ads manager. It's not something that happens in Instagram at all, but it directly contributes to that.
Yeah, I want people to have their page open and we can like create one together, honestly.
Yeah. So it's 3:58. I think that I've gotten to all the questions. If I have not gotten to your question, you should type it in right now if I missed it. I do have a really important announcement to let all of you know. Inside Voices is going to move to every other week because of life and all the things. So last week we had a really great conversation. A bunch of you are on this, who were here, were on the call last week. And it's really meant a lot for me to hear about how supportive and helpful this group has been. And so it's not something that I like, and I really enjoy being here and I'm learning a lot too. But doing it every week is a little bit unsustainable at this point, given this is week 9. So what I'd like to do is move this into every other week. As long as you're opening up the emails that I'm sending, you'll get the invites, you'll know what's coming up. I'll post it in the Facebook group too. So you should be able to still stay connected. So that means that our next call is not going to be on next Wednesday, but it's going to be on June 3rd. So just keep that in mind. We will, Amber, as long as you have time, I'd love to have you come back to talk about Facebook ads. I'm also working on having somebody talk about how to do virtual events really well. So those are some topics coming up. And I just want to say thank you to Amber and Allie for being here today and sharing all of your knowledge on Instagram. I mean, really, we could spend days and days and days talking about this stuff. So, you know, this could even be another conversation in the future as like more things for that. So, before we totally sign off, Amber or Allie, is there any final things you'd like to say? You want me to unmute you? I'm asking to unmute you, Allie, and you got to click on it.
Okay.
There we go.
Just one thing I always try to tell people is that with my business and my Instagram and whatever is, if I ever feel really overwhelmed or like things are maybe coming undone, it's the moment that I'm comparing myself to others and trying to do what's working for them. When the moment I come back and am true to myself, that's when I'm like right in line with what I should be doing. So
that's great.
That.
Thank you.
I actually want to just use like 10 seconds to speak to both Coalition Snow and Strange Bikini brands because, yeah, my little personal account, I try to micro influence around, and they've created such a fun environment on social media that I get stoked when they repost me when I post my Coalition board or me wearing my Strange bikini. So that was a question that came up. How do you get those pictures? Just watch what they're doing because I get that giddy feeling like, oh, please repost me if I tag you in my story. Like still, like honestly. So you've created that environment and that feeling from your feeds and your story, and I get excited. So thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully I can create that too, but I think you guys are like more established and longer existing companies, so it's a really cool vibe.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for being here today, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Happy Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, bye, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.